Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Simply a Better You. My name is Shanine and I am so glad that you could join me today. Guys, we're talking about one of my latest passions in the sense that I have been on the organic food journey for about 2 years now. And it all started when my health tanked and things started to get really bad. So in that, I found a great naturopathic doctor, and he helped educate me on what the difference is between our regular consumed produce that we purchase at the stores and what organic produce is. And guys, it opened up a big can of worms, and I jumped down the rabbit hole and I started to dig and read and research, and needless to say, I was blown away. I could not believe how blind I was to what was going on in my grocery store and in the world. So for my family's sake and for my health's sake, we chose to go the more organic route. Now, we're normal people, so I don't buy everything organic. And I don't eat perfectly, and I don't cook perfectly because I'm human. I love chocolate, and I love me a good dessert and a big bowl of ice cream. And let me tell you, no matter how organic that ice cream could be, it still has sugar in it, and I can't have the sugar. So it's rough. But organic food is where I really saw my health change. The very first step I made was by changing what I ate. Before we changed any medication, before we did any blood work, before we started to really dive into what my habits were and what I was doing, the very first thing we did was detox me, and of course, I ate no carbs and no sugar, organic proteins and organic fruits and vegetables for 60 days. And in the first 2 weeks, it was night and day. I was rejuvenated, the brain fog was gone, my headaches were gone, my body stopped hurting. I was amazed at just the amount of energy I had as a mom. I didn't feel exhausted anymore. I didn't need 5 cups of coffee just to get through my day or to write another report. It was like finding freedom. Discovering freedom and peace for me to not just have, but my family. Because if you're a mom or even a dad, you know that when you're stressed out and you don't feel good, that kind of bleeds over onto your family. It's in your home, and you can't get rid of it, and you can't, get out of it, and you're struggling with it, and you're like, if I just had more energy, if I just didn't hurt, if I just felt better, if my head just didn't hurt, if my eyes weren't pounding, I could play with my kids more. I would have the energy to take them to practice. I'd have the energy to make them a really great meal and not feel guilty every time I drove through McDonald's or Burger King. Guys, I've been there. I have been there time and time again. And I want to say that, I have never fallen back on convenience foods, but I have. Sometimes things get hectic. Life changes, and there's ups and there's downs. And yeah, I do rely on those convenience foods sometimes. We do the occasional pizza night. I do still make macaroni and cheese out of a box. Now, I can't eat it, but my kids can, and they love it. And I know when you think about it, you're like, oh, how could you feed that to your children and you not eat it yourself? My kids and Joe don't have the reactions to food like I have. There are things that if I eat them, I will have an allergic reaction. I will swell up. I will be in incredible pain. I will break out in a rash. So I don't feel like I should have to deprive them from all the things just because I can't have them. That's not That's not fair. So guys, here today I am going to talk with you about what is organic food and how do we source it. How do we source it so it's affordable? Because I can tell you, organic food is expensive. My grocery budget most definitely went up when we switched. But I'm going to explain to you how we've balanced that over time, things we've changed. And I can't say that they're tips or they're tricks, but when you get into lifestyle change, when you start changing your health habits and the way you eat and the other things that you're doing, you'll realize that you start removing things from your life, and that helps balance what's going on. Okay, so real quick and simple. In the description below, I'm going to list a whole bunch of links that you guys can go to and do your own research. That's very important. Listening to somebody talk about it is not always going to be the right answer. Always do your own research. So I'm going to list a bunch of links below that you can go to and look and read, research, form your own opinion, decide what works for you and your family. That's the first and most important thing. That if you take anything away from here, it needs to work for you and your family, because what I'm doing and what I do with my family is very different than what may work for you. So, what is organic food? Organic food, and you usually see the little label that's on the boxes, the containers, packages and stuff when you buy lettuce or celery or something. It'll say USDA organic or certified organic. And that means that it has been certified. A farmer has paid a large amount of money, unfortunately, to record the process of everything that they do with their soil and that particular product, whether it's meat or it's fruit or a vegetable. They're recording the process and they're being inspected yearly to make sure that they are staying within the rules and regulations that the USDA has set to make them certified organic. That means that they are not using any type of pesticide or synthetic fertilizer when they are making these products. So whether it's things they are feeding to their animals, things they are spraying on the fruits and vegetables, or actually what is the fruit and vegetable is actually growing in. And to top that off, that also means that none of the pesticides or synthetic fertilizers could have been used in the ground 3 years prior to them growing that particular fruit or vegetable. So they really do go above and beyond to certify these things as organic. Now, there are some other companies out there, other than the USDA, that are also working on an organic standard. I'm going to list those in the description below. But I also want you guys to check these guys out, the Environmental Working Group. So the Environmental Working Group puts out a list every year with the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. And basically what this is looking at is the conventionally grown produce that is in the store. So the Clean 15 is produce that you don't have to buy organic. This is produce that is either not sprayed or not as heavily sprayed, or produce that if it is sprayed, you're not going to eat the outside of it anyways. So think of things like an acorn squash. Now, of course, I have an acorn squash on hand right now because this is produce that's in season. But it's hard, and you don't eat the outside of this. Even if you're roasting it, you're not going to eat the outside of it. You're generally going to scoop it out or, cut away the outside. It's hard. And, so if it was sprayed with chemicals, you're going to wash it, of course, but you're not eating the outside of it, and the fruit or the vegetable part that's inside, you're going to eat. So it's okay. Also, think of things like avocados, the same thing. Now you always want to wash them because you're going to cut into this to get into the inside of it. So make sure you're giving it a really good scrub on the outside so that you're not pushing in any dirty, yucky substances to the inside when you cut into it. So, but avocados, this is a hard shell and you're going to eat what's inside but not the outside. So you don't have to buy organic avocados. Now, some people will say there's a difference in oranges. You should buy your citrus organic, or you shouldn't buy it organic, or it doesn't matter. I'm gonna leave that one up to you guys. But having this list, the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, helps me save money when I'm going to the grocery store and buying fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to link them below, and I want you guys to go and check out this list. How do you eat organic and save money? I mean, I think that's probably almost as important as buying organic, because guys, inflation's a real thing, and it is definitely eating into our grocery budgets, and I don't want it to eat into our health. So when I look at organic food and buying organic grass-fed beef or pork or pasture-raised chicken, I have to remember that my family's health and my health is very, very important. And in that, I'm looking at the cost difference. So when my health is very poor, we spend a lot of money in medical bills. I have to run and get lots of tests done. I pay for my own insurance. I don't have a your regular like 9-to-5 job or employer that helps pay for my insurance, so I am paying this. And then a lot of it I just pay out of pocket because I can get a better deal. But you know, in looking at that, I have seen that my health bills have come down over the last 2 years. I'm not putting out money on 5 prescriptions. I'm only putting money out on 2 prescriptions. And because they're on the lower end dose and I purchase them for a 90-day supply, I get a better deal on the cost of my prescriptions. In that, I'm not having to run and have lab work done every 6 weeks or every 3 months to keep checking my thyroid, because my thyroid is working and doing what it's supposed to do. I'm not running to the doctor's office every 2 weeks or every 30 days to talk about my blood pressure and why I can't get it under control. And you know, I don't get sick as often. So cold season comes around, flu season comes around, and it is a thing here in Florida. I don't get sick like I used to. So my kids, unfortunately, they're at school and they bring home lots of little bugs and germs, but mama can't get sick. If I get sick, everything kind of falls apart. That means dishes are piling up, laundry's not getting done, kids may go to school without brushed hair and brushed teeth. So mama can't get sick. I have to make sure that I am taking care of myself and taking care of my family. Now, in this, I have noticed that my girls are not getting sick as often as they used to. First, it would go through the whole house and wipe us all out. Now, maybe only one of us get it. And if we do get sick, we're not down for days or a week. It's like a 24, 48-hour thing and we're good. And if I can catch it soon enough and really start pumping in the nutrients and vitamins and rest and lots of fluids, they can usually kick it in a day, which is great. So the benefits to me outweigh the cost of what I'm spending at the grocery store. But I know that feeling of standing in front of your conventional grown and your organic grown and going, I really don't know if I can afford to do this anymore, because the prices in the store have increased so much. and I'm in Florida. So food cost here is extremely high. But on top of that, utilities are high here, and I'm sure you guys know how our housing market is. It's booming. Everybody's moving to Florida. So things cost quite a bit here. Our gas is high, and I often wonder how I'm going to keep doing this. But there is a way that I am still doing this, and you can do this as well. So one of the best things you can do is buy local. So I live in Florida, and there are farmers here. So find a local farmer's market. Now, depending on where you are, you may have to drive 15 minutes up the road. You may have to drive a half hour to a farmer's market, but it's worth it. And when you go to these farmers markets, you need to talk to the farmers. Talk to them. Ask them where they're from and what else do they grow. You might find that your local farmer might live 6 minutes up the road from you. And I am blessed enough that I have a farmer that lives 6 minutes up the road from me and has an open and active CSA, which allows me to pay into with a whole bunch of other people. We pay into to contribute to help this farmer run their farm. So, and it's not that much. It's $25 a year, which I think is well worth it. All CSAs work differently, so you have to find one that works for you. Some of them want a certain amount of money up front, and you come by monthly or weekly and pick up however much produce or eggs or milk or whatever you have set up. The way ours is set up is it allows us to have access to a large and wide variety of seasonal produce and meats, dairy and eggs that we can go and pick up once a week. So I pay to be a member of the CSA, and I also pay for items that they're providing. In that, I have direct contact with the farmer. I am allowed to go to the farm on the days that they have pickup days. I can also call and ask if I can swing by, and they allow that as well. They allow tours. You can bring your kids up there, and not only that, they love it when you come and volunteer because they want to teach you how to do this, how to grow food in your backyard. And I love that about my CSA. They are very hands-on, and they truly appreciate their customers and what they're providing you with. But in that, it has allowed me to meet these farmers, find out what they're growing, and buy in bulk. So we love tomato sauce, and we love homemade tomato sauce. But I can't grow a whole bunch of tomatoes. I mean, it's not tomato season right now. I got one more left, and it's a good sized one. I don't know how that's going to taste. But the thing is if I want to make tomato sauce and I want to get a really good price on tomatoes, that means I need to find somebody that is growing them and growing a lot. So I find that farmer and I ask them, hey, would you offer me a deal if I took quite a few tomatoes off of your hands? And I mean a lot. Like we're talking pounds upon pounds, 40 pounds, 60 pounds, 80 pounds of tomatoes. And then I bring those home and I process them. So that would be making tomato sauce, salsa and stuff, and canning those things and putting them up. But I get a discount in that. And there's also, you can go one step further. What these farmers are bringing to the farmers market are really pretty, picked at the peak of their freshness. So you're getting the best that they have, the best they have to offer. But in that, we all know that when you're growing something, not everything comes out pretty. Some things get sunburned. Some things have a flat side. Some of them are smaller and not so big. And you may have heard this coined as like misfit fruit or ugly fruit or seconds. And that's what you need to talk to your farmer about. Ask them if they have any seconds, or the next time that they do a harvest, onions, tomatoes, peppers, find out what they're growing. If you have seconds, I would like to purchase those from you. And you can get your produce at a discount, a big discount, because they can't sell this stuff to your regular consumer. They can't go to a market and sell it. They can't sell it to a grocery store. They can't sell it to a restaurant because it's not pretty. The eyes tell you, oh, that looks good. Oh, it's pretty. Oh, it has a perfect shape. It's so nice. It's gonna taste good because it looks good. And a second fruit or vegetable may have a flat side, a bruise, some scarring on it. It may have a crack that is healed closed and some brown spots. You know, here we have lots of mangoes that have ugly little spots on the outside of them, and you open them up and they're perfectly fine, but they won't sell those in the stores because they're not pretty. Well, I don't have a problem with it because I don't eat the outside of the mango. I'm gonna peel that off anyways. And you can get tons of produce, cheap. And when you buy it in bulk, you get it even cheaper. So that is a great way that you can save on your organic fruits and vegetables. Now in that, when you're doing that and you're kind of staying away from the grocery store and you're going to your farmers and your farmer markets and your CSAs, you're going to find that you're going to need to eat seasonally. So you're eating what's in season, and that's specific to your area. Now, when we go to a grocery store and we have all those conventional fruits and vegetables, we are indeed spoiled, because I can buy blueberries and strawberries, apples and oranges at any time of the year. Any time of the year. And we know that that's not how they grow. That's not how they're produced. So that's where you see the price hike. Now, we think we're getting this big deal when we go to the store and we're like, all right, strawberries are $1.99, and you buy all these strawberries, and then you go back in 2 months and they're $2.99 or $3.99. You're like, oh, well, what happened? It's because they're not in season anymore. You have to buy what's in season. And if you want those strawberries or those blueberries to last you, buy them in bulk when they're in season. And you take them home and you process them. You cook them down and you make jellies and jams, or freeze them. You can freeze like all of this stuff and then use it for smoothies and yogurts and stuff to get you through the fall and winter months when you can't have these things that you want. You can buy organic food frozen. And you can usually get that in large quantities. And there's nothing wrong with buying organic food frozen. Frozen food is just as good as the fresh stuff and it lasts longer. So buy frozen. That leads me to another way you can save on organic food. Grow it yourself. Start a garden in the backyard. It is a learning process, but it's a learning process, but I promise you it's a process of love. You know, get involved in your community. Reach out to people, your neighbors. If you know a gardener, even if they have a small garden, ask some questions, get some seeds, and take them to your backyard and clear away a spot or pull out a container and plant them and see what you can grow. I promise you, you can grow something. My 5-year-old is growing butternut squash, and all she did was take seeds from an actual squash. I had cleaned it out. She took those seeds, took them outside, and planted them in our backyard. And I said they would never grow. And I have butternut squash. I have 7 plants growing all over my yard because she put them wherever she wanted to. And they're growing. And I'm stunned because we have sand. And technically, nothing should be growing in this sand. But We have butternut squash growing, so prove me wrong. So try guys, just try. Even if you fail at it, so you may have gotten some bad seeds or some bugs ate your fruits and vegetables, just keep trying. You will learn the process and the reward that you get for all the effort you put into that. You will feel so accomplished the very first time that you get to pick your very own tomato, that you can walk outside and, you know, dig up sweet potatoes, that, you know, you want some green onions to go on top of your tacos, and you can walk out in your backyard and clip some green onions and bring them in, and they're fresh. You can't get any fresher than that, straight from the backyard. Okay, this one might be a little challenging. Try to buy less processed and packaged food. So we're looking at things that are convenient foods, things that are already made. So your TV dinners, macaroni and cheese, canned soups and things. Try to buy less, because when you start on this process and you try to buy those things organic, those you're going to see are very, very expensive. So I don't buy a lot of processed food. We still buy it. We still buy cereal. It is not something that is good for you. I consider it junk food, so it's more like snack food in our house. But, you know, things like crackers and chips and stuff like that, when you buy that with an organic label on it, it's very expensive. When you buy like organic beans, you know how cheap a can of beans are. But when you buy organic beans, you're going to pay at least somewhere between 78, 80 cents more a can. And, you know, I mean, sometimes we don't even want to part with that much. So I encourage you, grow your own if you can, but try to buy less processed and packaged food. Let me give you an example here. This is organic tomato soup. Now this will feed my family if I'm doing sandwiches or something real quick one night. And this is my emergency backup soup. So I forgot to put out the meat to thaw. I had an extra appointment come up. We got stuck in traffic, didn't have time to cook. We have church that night. Quick meals. These are also great to pack in school lunches. But this is technically a processed food. It's ready made to go. You just heat it up. And it's organic. This cost me $4.99. And I know for a fact that I can buy a family size can of Campbell tomato soup for probably like $1.29, maybe $1.89. I'm pretty sure those have gone up too. So yes, this is expensive, but this is convenience. This is a chicken broth soup that I made. I made the broth, picked up my mushrooms and my kale, added my seasoning. This is what I eat for breakfast or for lunch. This is organic, convenient food that I have made myself. So this is cheaper. The broth itself, I made from leftover chicken bones. So this is a chicken bone broth, and I buy whole chickens and I save the carcass, all the bones left over, and I freeze those. And I wait till I have like 2 or 3 birds, and then I put them in my crock pot and I slow cook them for usually 24 hours or maybe more. I wait till the bones are really soft and squishy. I throw some vegetables in there and I let that cook. That usually gives me enough broth that I can or freeze to make soups or meals with. And I don't have to buy chicken broth, beef broth, or vegetable broth anymore. I make it at home. And if I'm pulling the vegetables out of my backyard, and I have well water, so technically my vegetable broth is free at this point, which is great. So that leads me right on into my next way that you can save money on organic food is make it yourself. So I know this is a lot of information and these are a lot of different steps. When you're buying processed food, you're buying the convenience of having it. And of course it tastes good too because they put lots of things in there that tells your brain how great this tastes and how much you want it again and again. So when you're buying organic foods that have been packaged and you're going to pay a lot of that excess money, you're paying for the convenience of it. But you can save yourself some time and a whole lot of money if you can make these things at home yourself. So you can buy all the ingredients that you need to make macaroni and cheese. And this is another great thing. If you can dehydrate your own cheese, then you have your own macaroni and cheese, a quick meal. But I don't have a dehydrator. So I buy my block cheese. I have the noodles of, our choice, and I make our own macaroni and cheese. Now I've been making it for a really long time, well over 20 years. So it's quick and easy to make. And then you can teach your kids how to make it as well. And they have an after-school snack or something quick that they can make for lunch. So you want to try to make your own things. Get a good cookbook. Look up the recipes online. Let's wander over to my fridge real quick and let me show you just a few things. Okay. Okay, I apologize for the mess, but it is what it is. These are pickled carrots, and I have pickled carrot sticks, and those are easy snacks. Those are things that we eat. Homemade applesauce. We have our homemade pickles. This is homemade mayonnaise. That's just avocado oil and an egg. And here, a convenience food, ranch dressing. My daughter loves ranch dressing, and I haven't put together the ingredients to make it yet, so I'm still buying ranch dressing. We have apple butter. I save my bacon grease and use it to grease my cast iron pans. That would be one of my vinaigrette dressings for my salads. I store my coconut milk in here. But I've got pickled cabbage back there, a huge jar of sauerkraut. There's tons of things. Oh, here you go. Butter. So guys, I encourage you, make some of your own things. Start small, start with condiments, make some mayonnaise, and be prepared to fail a few times, because I did. It took 3 times before I even got one good jar of mayonnaise. 3 times. And yes, you're gonna feel like I am wasting so much food and oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm not gonna do this. It's so much easier just to go to the store and buy it. But for me to buy organic avocado mayonnaise cost me $8.98. When I can make it at home using a cup of avocado oil and 1 egg and some salt, a little bit of lemon juice. To look at that, the comparison price there, $8.98 for a small container of avocado mayonnaise. Organic, gotta be organic. Regular avocado mayonnaise, like $4, $5 if you buy the really good kind. But I'm like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a way that I can save money. But when I started to do this, I jumped all in.
I didn't ease myself into it. I didn't make a slow switch over so that we could adjust to the big budget shock. I just jumped all in and went and bought organic meat and organic fruit and organic produce and threw out all the junk and started to look for organic chips and organic popcorn, organic cookies and organic mustard and ketchup, and so much of that you don't need to even buy organic, but I didn't know. So I was hemorrhaging money. Tons of money, and I'm like, there's no way I can do this. I cannot keep up with this. I should have taken my time. I should have done my research. I should have learned the terminology. I should have looked for resources, and I should have started small. I should have started with produce and made the slow transition over to organic produce, and then made the transition over to meat, and then made the transition over to other items that we were buying, like chips and cakes and cookies, learning how to make that stuff at home to help save money. Now, it's been 2 years, and yes, I've learned these things, but when I first started in, it was so overwhelming. But guys, you can do this. You can afford to buy organic. You can afford to take good care of yourself. Food is natural medicine. It feeds your body, and you are what you eat. So take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Do what you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody said that there was an absolute perfect way that you can do this. And if they are saying that, they're wrong, because nobody is perfect. And I can tell you that, yes, I buy all organic fruits and vegetables. That would be a lie. It would be an absolute lie, because this isn't organic. This is a conventionally grown avocado. It's not organic. I don't buy all organic. I buy organic where it counts. And I buy what I can afford to buy. So I have to choose. What's most important to me is to make sure I have organic for all the dirty dozen fruits and vegetables. So my strawberries and blueberries, spinach and kale, lettuce, all of that stuff is organic. And then I buy the other conventional food. That's how I have saved money. But we've made the transition over to buying all organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised beef, pork, and chicken. That I am convicted with and will not budge. That is what I feel is best for my family, what is best for us, so the majority of the money goes towards meat. Now in that, we have also learned to eat less meat. All that meat's not good for you anyways. So at least once or twice a week, we have a veggie night. And that might mean we're having spaghetti squash with tomato sauce and peppers and onions, and I'll throw some sweet potatoes in there. We might do a vegetarian chili night, which is great. That's got black beans and sweet potatoes in it. It saves us money, and we're still eating the good, healthy food. And you know, it really helps you look at what we're eating and how wasteful we are and how much money we spend on just luxury items and convenient food and splurging on food. When you really start to look at the cost of your food, what it costs to make it, what it costs to process it, and the things that happen in the background of that not all of us are privileged to know or may have a chance to have, that one-on-one connection with the chicken that is sitting in my crock pot, or the eggs that I make every morning, or how the beef is cared for and processed. When we don't have that connection, we lose it, or it just never exists. It's a convenience to go to the grocery store and pick from a wide selection of everything that is there, and we don't even think or consider, how did this get here? How long did it take to get here? That's probably the one that kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, is how much processing happens, how many times, how many hands touched it, how and what process it went through to be packaged, how long it's sat in a truck, how long it's been sitting there on the shelf in the actual grocery store. Guys, once it starts that process, it immediately starts to form bacteria. Do you know, quick side tip, that when you buy bacon at the grocery store and you pull it out of the package and it's slimy, or you pull your chicken out of a package and it's slimy, guys, that's not normal. It is not normal. Now, it may smell okay and it may look okay, but the slimy feeling is not normal. That's actually bacteria growing. And we cook it up, we wash it off, we eat it, because that's what happens in the packaging process. And we think of it as normal, and it most definitely is not. So, food for thought. But guys, I am going to link in the description below a whole bunch of sources for you to look at to do your own research. I'm also going to link down there a site that's called localharvest.org, and you can hop on there and put in your city, your state, your zip code, and it will actually show you where your closest farmer's market, CSA, or farmer is for you to make contact with. And it will even tell you, a little bit about them. It'll tell you what they sell. Some of them specialize in dairy, some only produce, some only beef, some only pork. But you would be surprised how many are around you. And you can start reaching out to these people and making contact with them, building relationships, and of course, saving money, and knowing that you can buy organic food. So guys, I hope you got a lot from this today. I know it's a lot of information, but please take it slow. Take your time. You will see the benefit in it, and you will see the cost savings over time, especially in your health. So guys, as always, I love you, and I thank you for joining me on my journey, and I bless you on yours.